welcome back, baseball fans, to the Eliminating the Seattle Mariners video. Something that's happened extremely late in the season, as they've had a remarkable run. 77 to 80 players, clear overachievement, some wonderful magical years, only 33 games played, so anything can happen when you play that short of a season. And Seattle did everything they could. Plenty of overachievement statistically all over this board here. Let me just go review last year, just to give you a kind of a comparison. So the 2020 version of this team of Seattle was the fourth worst team in baseball. They were 10 and 18. Bhakti hit a modest 274, 2 homers, 12 RBIs. They had Bill North leading off, 261 with 14 steals. Pachork at 328, 217. Romo was good in the bullpen, 287, 5 saves. They had Pat Dobson, 3 and 3, 493. Rudy May, 4-4. And Nelson Briles last year, 0 and 7 with a 7.43 ERA. Some of those guys, a lot of those guys are gone. And in the big 1980 additions were Floyd Bannister. And he would be their shining light during this time of expansion. The first good pitcher they ever had. And they brought in Bill Stein, some other players. You see Leon Roberts had a monster year. Gil Flores got more playing time at the end of the year. Hit 383 for this team. Bucky Dent's hitting 284. Darrell Cheney's hitting 284. What's going on? Stanton did not play a lot, but when he played against lefties, he came through. Rupert Jones was okay. Julio Cruz, 13 steals. You see Rudy May, 7 and 2 as the number 3 starter. Bannister, only a record of 3 and 2, but he did pitch 65 and 2/3 innings. Enrique Romo, and Byron McLaughlin too. John D'Acquisto, fantastic work out of the bullpen, assisting his pitching staff. Really can't find any fault in this team anywhere. Who disappointed, you know? So let's take a look now at the Seattle Mariners. And this could be interesting because I have no idea. They could go right back into the last place after this fairy tale. I mean, it's just so hard to be consistent for this franchise in this era. Because remember, the Oakland A's get better again by the early 80s. Billy Martin in Oakland. So they have the Angels and the A's. And the Texas Rangers will be good too, because they have some nice bats coming in Texas. Buddy Bell, Al Oliver, guys like that. Okay, so let's count, make sure we have 77 cards. Get an idea of who is going away. See who we keep, who we waive, who we retire. And actually, you don't see necessarily a lot of links to the Mariners here. A few of them. But a lot of these guys were brought in to help out. So, who is coming back next year? And it looks like they're going to bring a lot of pitchers back. 7 and 5. So they bring back 7 and 5. That's the average spread you'd like. Balance between hitting and pitching. So, they have John Ellis can catch. At second base, they have Julio Cruz at second. They have Bill Stein at third, Cheney and Dent at short. So they don't have a first baseman. And they have 2 outfielders, Pachork, Leon Roberts. Your 5 pitchers. You still have Bannister, and Parrott at the top of the rotation. Then you have 3 relievers. Your closer's missing, but your 3 setup guys who are all pretty good are there. So it's an interesting building set. We just got to hope the guys they bring back improve from where they left off at. So let's take a look at those 1977 cards of the Mariners. Okay, we'll take a look at the Seattle Mariners, see what 77 guys are coming back. We start with Bruce Bhakti. That's a no-brainer. He's a keeper. I want to see how many times he performs well for the Mariners. He's an all-star in 79, I believe. Let's double check that. Yeah. Because the game was played in the Kingdom, so that's why they made a big deal out of his all-star appearance. 316 year, 878 OPS. Does it again in 80. Does it again in 82. Very good. One of the first foundational members of the M's, coming off of stints with the Indians and Angels earlier in the decade. He's a definite keeper. Next player is Gil Flores. Short little career here, and it comes off his best year, 79. 77. Yeah, that was a nice card we had. Good defense. After that, however, he doesn't qualify for waivers in 78. They make a 79 card. We can just put him on retirement, and we'll do that. Gil Flores on retired list. Roop Jones, another keeper. How many Ruperts are there? There you go. 76 to 87. Actually, it's a World Series ring with the Tigers, I believe, in 84. Yep. All-Star with the Padres in 82. So he's a guy who moves around a lot. Played on the 80 Yankees. So when he eventually leaves Seattle, he might be a good candidate for one of the expansion teams other than Seattle. You know, the Arizona, Colorado, Florida, Las Vegas, teams like that. But anyway, he will have a couple more years with the Mariners. The OPS, you see, is good in 79 and not good again until 82. I'm going to call it a keeper because this is Seattle and they need all the help they can get. If for some reason we find somebody better in this list, we can push them on waivers. That we will. Stanton, Leroy Stanton. And it was his big year, 1977 for Leroy. Big year. Huge year at age 31. Expansion team, the brightest spot of that expansion team, 27 homer, 90 RBI. Great year. The following year, he's terrible. He make his card, but he's really bad in the following year. So we can put him on waivers. Don't have to necessarily retire him, though he will probably pass the waivers unclaimed. But we can at least put him there. All right, interesting. Steve Yeager, interesting guy they smuggled away from the Dodgers. Dodgers couldn't keep everybody. Yeager actually does play for the Mariners, but it's much later in his career. In 1986. There it is. But anyway, so we might want to let him go. We liked him for his 77 performance. After that, however, he's just kind of ordinary. He does qualify for waivers in the following year, so let's let him go on waivers. He's not your property anyway, but you used him for a year. And as you see, we have only 2 keepers thus far. We only have 3 cards to look at left. Rudy May, he'll be good. He's somebody else's property, but the Mariners might say, oh, we ain't getting rid of this guy. You crazy? We need all the help we can get. So, interesting spate of teams. Rudy May play for a lot of teams, which makes him a good candidate to go to an expansion team. Find some roots, stay with one squad for a long time. For some reason, Yankees, Orioles, Expos, back to the Yankees. Has a great year in 80, and in 82, and in 79. This is the year he's coming off with the Orioles. It will be the last time he pitches on 3 days rest. I think you got to keep him, but possibly consider him to be a trade candidate, because you could get a lot of value for him. I mean, Seattle, what's the play going to be? Be at 500, make a playoff run, get some valuable pieces. It's really a tough thing to ask, because they don't really have much future in the early 80s anyway. They have to be one-hit wonders. Everything they have to do has to be a risk to get past California and Oakland, my guess is. All right, Andy Messersmith. I think he's at the end of his rope here. Actually pitches through to 79, but I think it's marginal number of innings. Yeah. Not particularly good either. And let's just put him on retirement. Nice long career of Andy Messersmith. His final start is against a team he once played for, the Angels. Whoops. And when you look at his long career, great Strat-O-Matic pitcher. California and the Dodgers. He's pitched for both of those in my league. has a stint with the Braves, Yankees, and then back to the Dodgers in 1979 at age 33. But it's time for him to retire. So it comes down to their fireman of the year, Enrique Romo. 2 great years. A lot of Enrique's, but only one with an R. Here he is. 2 great years out of his 77 card. With Seattle, by the way. 8 and 10. This is the card we just used. $1.15 whip. And he was their closer 2 years in a row. It was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Now, you can bring him back in 78. He's just as good. $1.18 whip. We know in 79 he'll get a World Series ring for the Pirates. They might come calling. So he's another trade piece. Remember, the Pirates have some guys they're looking to trade as well. So for right now, he's a keeper. And also a trade chip. And when you look at it, Seattle could start the season this way. They've got the perfect balance. 4 keepers, 2 waivers, 2 retires, with 2 of your keepers being trade chips. Plenty of balance everywhere in this analysis. They got a decent number of hitters, decent number of pitchers, decent distribution of keepers, of hitters and pitchers, trade options. So they really just need to do heady stuff and try and, I guess you say, beat the curve. The curve said the Mariners are supposed to finish in the last place. And they need to continue what they just started this past year and just try and get hot next year the way they did this past year. Odds are against them, but they have the tools to succeed. All right, thanks for checking out the Eliminating the Mariners video. We'll see you next time.